I'm Laura Ingram in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, race relations in America. Ever since the inflammatory comments by Cliven Bundy and Donald Sterling went public, Americans of all races and walks of life have been weighing in.
I did a little bit of research. More whites believe in ghosts than believe in racism. That's why we don't have. That's why we have shows like Ghostbusters and don't have shows like Racist Busters.
Well, the fact checkers at the Tampa Bay Times looked into that claim and decided it's not quite right, saying, quote, while we don't know what research he was citing to support his point, Abdul-Jabbar's claim is a stretch based on the polls we found and the pollsters we consulted. That said, a 2008 Gallup poll found that blacks think racism is more widespread than whites. Joining us now from Miami, civil rights attorney Andel Brown, and from New York, Fox News contributor Deneen Burrell. Let's start with you here. He was trying to make a point, I think, and maybe he overstated it a little bit, but that whites and blacks have a different view of race in America. And for the most part, blacks still think the system is at times unfair and discriminatory. And I think more whites think, look, we all have it pretty tough and things are better than they've ever been. What's your reaction to his characterization?
Well, I think his characterization was to help move the dialogue forward, to help discuss race relations in America, and it served its purpose to a T. He wanted to make sure that we know that there's a problem with racism in this country and we have to address it. We can't ignore it.
Deneen, we've had now 5 years of Barack Obama going into the 5th year here. And I see 11.2% black unemployment. You have a growing percentage of black Americans out of the workforce altogether. It's almost at record numbers. Obviously, we know the problem with the breakdown in all walks of life, all races. But to me, that's the real outrage here, is that economic opportunity isn't there for people hardest hit black Americans and Latino Americans.
No, you're absolutely right, Laura. Those numbers are staggering. But when you listen to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's comments, his comments are very divisive, and it's the same rhetoric that we hear from Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and desperate politicians like Charles Rangel. They play the race card. Listen, the facts remain that America is an exceptional country. I would never say there aren't races in America, but it's a minority of a number. It's a small number, and that number cannot prevent black individuals from striving and from achieving. Look at corporate America, look at politicians, look at in entertainment and sports. You work hard, you apply yourself, you're successful. Playing the race card, I think, is very divisive, and it's the worst tactic to play, especially in this day and time with high unemployment record numbers. And
I would say, Andel, that a lot of kids look up to folks like Abdul-Jabbar, and they hear that, I bet, and they think, gosh, it really, why bother? Or it's going to be harder for me to make it. So these white people don't like me. They think this is all a myth. I mean, I see Deneen's point. I mean, I think there is a difference in the way some racists look at some issues, for sure. But I don't think that moves the dialogue. You know what I think it does, Andel? I think it makes the dialogue go like this. I think people move farther apart instead of, look, what works? Personal responsibility, staying together as a family, getting married before you have kids. Those things work. Let's support people from all races to do make all the right choices.
Laura, I don't believe that Kareem's statements are somehow directing us away from personal responsibility. If you look at Kareem's life and what he's accomplished, he's very responsible for himself, and he talks about empowering yourself, setting goals, and reaching them. His statements taken total are saying that we have a race issue in America that we cannot turn away from.
What's the bigger problem facing black people today?
We have to address it and deal with it.
So we've been talking about race, so with all due respect, we've been talking about race for decades and decades and decades and decades. We've had workshops, sit-ins, symposiums, hour-long, day-long specials on television. But the problem facing the black community is an economic one. It's a family one. I think those problems are much deeper today, not 50 years ago, but today. Those are the things holding back so many Americans, including black Americans, but not just black Americans, all of us, I think. Deneen, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is all political, Laura. I think this is all political because we've got the midterm election elections coming. You have the Senate that the Democrats are afraid of losing. We're going to hear more and more race card rhetoric as we get closer to the election, and that is what I think is happening right now. And this doesn't move the needle in any way, shape, or form. It divides America, and it's the last thing we need to be doing.
Thanks so much, Deneen and Andel. When we come back, the